A young girl was sitting in a cold cave. Her name was Young-Bi, and she was bleeding from the mouth. The man who was standing at the entrance to the cave said that she had eaten a poisonous, bitter dragon fruit. This is a deadly poison that can melt the heart. The only thing the girl could say was why. But Jung-Young-Kum-Gae-won didn't answer her and left. Young-Bi didn't understand why he did this to her. Even though their paths diverged, he was the only one to whom she gave her heart. She knew he had killed her, but her heart was burning in her chest. It was not clear to the girl whether it was because of the poison or because of his betrayal that her heart hurt so much. After total darkness, Young-Bi heard someone say that no one had ever managed to survive this poison. The woman began to cry and beg the doctor to save Soju. Young-Bi opened her eyes in surprise and asked who Soju was. The girl saw in front of her 3 people whom she did not know. It was an old man and 2 young girls. She did not understand how she ended up here, because she well remembered that she died alone in the cave. One girl rushed to hug her, and Young-Bi pushed her away and asked who she was. The girl in tears said she was Bu-sung, and the other girl called herself Won-Woon. Young-Bi replied that she had never seen them, much to the girl's shock. They asked the old doctor what happened to Soju. The man replied that she tried to end her life with the help of a bitter dragon, so everything could not be right with her. Therefore, the old doctor assumed that Soju had lost her memory. Young-Bi, hearing about this, thought that she remembers her past very well, but she didn't want to talk about it. Bu-sung, who was still in tears, asked the girl if she really didn't remember anything, even who she is. "You are His Majesty's concubine," said the girl. Young-Bi quickly grabbed the mirror and looked into it. The girl realized with horror that it was not her face. She could say that it was not her body, but who would believe her? She used to be called the strongest girl in Marima. Martial artists trembled in terror at her name alone, and now she became the emperor's concubine. 3 young men with sharp swords chased the girl through the forest. They screamed that Young-Bi had seduced Young-Kum and used him under his cover. Young-Bi replied that it was Jung-Young-Kum-Gae-won who followed her everywhere and claimed to like her. As soon as she said that, one of the young men directed his magic at her. The girl got out, jumping over herself, and with her magic struck all the men. When they all fell to the ground, out of nowhere appeared a tall man dressed in precious clothes. The young man told them that he considered an attack on his beloved as an attack on himself. Young-Bi looked at him and smiled as she stood by. And now the girl was hitting a stone with her bare hands in the forest and screaming with anger. She hated Gi-won for first making her believe him and then betraying her. A month has passed since she woke up in the body of a concubine. But no one ever visited her, not even the emperor. Young-Bi thought about what she had in common with the girl in whose body she woke up. It seemed to her that there was nothing in common, except that they both ate a bitter dragon before death. The girl looked at her hands. She was upset because it was a weak body that did not have a single drop of fighting power. Young-Bi told herself that being a concubine was much better. After all, before that she was tired of being Mirim's enemy. Every time she was on the verge of death. However, Young-Bi decided to regain her lost fighting power. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her and attacked the stranger with her foot. When the girl staggered, the man took her hand and told her to be careful. Young-Bi thought that she was alone in this forest and no one else would see her here. The girl asked the man who he was. The young man smiled and said his name. Seoju said that he has a very strange name, and Hak-Hup asked in surprise if she did not know him. The girl asked in response why she should know his name. The young man said that there was not a person in this empire who did not know his name. Young-Bi noticed that the man was accompanied by several guards hiding behind the bushes, so her strength has not yet recovered. The girl decided that she should just run away from here. Hak-Hup was upset that he never learned her name. When all the concubines gathered at the Empress's reception, Young-Bi realized that Soju was very inconspicuous among so many concubines. The girl was a little surprised that no one asked her how she felt after being on the brink of death. If Young-Bi came back from the dead, everyone would want to see her. See to kill. The 2 concubines sitting next to each other began to discuss the fact that General Hak-Hap's wedding did not take place again. One girl asked, "What's the point of being so pretty if you have such a terrible personality?" Young-Bi became interested in their conversation because she heard Hak-Hap's name. The girl thought about the fact that the man she met late at night in the forest was really very handsome. He had thick eyebrows, dark eyes, and a beautiful nose and lips. The concubines were informed that His Majesty the Emperor was entering the hall. One girl, as if on purpose, fell on the floor. The other girls greeted His Majesty. Young Bi did not understand why the girl fell. But the veiled emperor asked the concubines if it was fun to mock someone by choosing a victim. He then asked the girl sitting on his lap if she was the concubine who frequented Chongjuk Park in the middle of the night. Young Bi didn't know where this park was. The girl answered His Majesty that it was her. The emperor was a little surprised and asked her name. The concubine said that she was Gui Yin of the Wu clan. The emperor offered the girl to go with him to another room so as not to remain among the foxes. The concubines began to discuss the fact that the girl had specifically fallen before His Majesty's arrival. In the evening, Young Bi ran to the forest again. She was angry that the emperor called them foxes. Then the girl remembered what she was called before: trash, temptress, enemy of Mirim, evil monster. That's how they could say about her before. Therefore, Young Bi decided that fox is even a very cute name for a girl. Young Bi was running so fast and thinking about her own business that she didn't notice when she bumped into His Majesty and Gui Yin. The concubine asked in surprise what she was doing in Chongjuk Park. Then the girl realized that it was her that the emperor was looking for, because she was here yesterday. Young Bi bowed to His Majesty and said that she often visits this place. The emperor smiled and said that she was very bright. Then he called his concubine Gui Yin to follow him further. Young Bi followed them. She hid behind the bushes and watched them. His Majesty told Gui Yin that the girl they met wanted to be like her, so she came to this park. The emperor admitted that he was not angry to see her here yesterday. He just wanted to see what she was doing. Young Bi understood what he was talking about her, but now he thought she was just trying to be like that girl. This greatly infuriated Young Bi and she became angry. Suddenly, someone touched her from behind and gave her a rice cake. When the girl turned back, she saw that handsome young man. Hawkap motioned for the girl to sit quietly, but Young Bi nearly fell over with fright, and the emperor looked into the bushes and asked if there was anyone there. Then, they quickly ran away. Soju sat in her room wondering why Hawkap gave her the rice cake. No one had given Young Bi free food before, only the latter is a poisonous fruit. The girl asked Wonwoon what it means if someone gives you food. Wonwoon replied that if the food is not poisoned, then the person probably likes you. Soju said that this cake doesn't look like it's poisoned. Bu-sung and Wonwoon were very interested in asking the girl who gave her the rice cake, and she replied that it was a young man named Hawkap. The girl said at the same time that it was General Hawkap himself. Bu-sung said that Soju definitely impressed the general with her charm, and Wonwoon asked why she didn't tell them anything. They asked the girl to tell them something about General Hawkap. At that moment, someone knocked on their door and asked if they could come in. Young Bi was very surprised to see Wu Guiying here. The girl sat across from her at the table and asked Soju for help. Surprised, she asked what exactly she could do to help. Guiyin confessed that she was not the concubine the emperor had met in the park. The girl knew it was Soju. She said His Majesty liked what she was doing there. The concubine wanted to know exactly what Soju was doing in the park. Young Bi didn't like someone pretending to be her. But she thought that it would be better if no one found out that she was the one in the park. While the girl pondered, Guiyin started shouting that His Majesty wouldn't believe Soju anyway if she told about herself. She asked not to be angry and help her. This girl made Young Bi so angry that her power manifested itself, and she punched the air with her fist, causing the girl to fall from her chair to the floor. Soju smiled and asked Guiyin if she could do the same. When she met the emperor, Young Bi watched them. After all, she was very curious if Guiyin would be able to do what she told her. As Soju watched the emperor from behind the bushes, Hawkap came up to her and handed her colorful cakes. The girl asked not to distract her, because now an important moment must happen. She wanted Guiyin to show the emperor what she had taught her. The concubine told His Majesty that she wanted to show him something. She punched the air like Soju had taught her. The unimpressed emperor silently turned and walked away from her. The girl ran after him. Hawkap laughed and asked Soju what the meaning of this strange situation was. Seoju admitted that she was helping Wu Guiying. The young man smiled and asked if she helped or framed her. The girl said she just told her what she was doing at Chongjuk Park. So she just told her the truth. Soju then told the general that the emperor liked her. Hawkap was very surprised and the girl said that he liked her too. The young man tried to deny it, But Seoju said that he also fell in love with her when he saw her at Chongjuk Park. Because he gave her a rice cake then, and now he follows her around all the time. Hokap asked the girl how she could think that about him. Seoju said he was looking at her with loving eyes. The young man smiled, and the girl told him not to fall in love with her. The next day, sitting in the garden, the concubines discussed the rumor that Seoju meets General Hokap every night in Chongjuk Park. One girl said that no one could have imagined that a hot-tempered general and a shy, depressed concubine could be together. Another girl said that this couple was made in heaven. Concubine Yom Yin said it was all a lie. The girls were surprised and asked how she knew about this. Yom Yin said that she had personally asked General Hokap about it, and the general replied that he had no idea who this Seoju was. The girlfriends told Seoju that General Hokap told Yom Yin that he didn't know any Seoju. The girl was shocked by such news. One woon said that the concubines are saying that she is trying to get attention like this, and that's why she lied to everyone. Young-bi was outraged that this General Hokap had acted like this after chasing her around and treating her to rice cakes. The girl got angry and quickly ran to the park. There she met General Hokap again, sitting on a rock. He was holding a tray of rice cakes in his hands. The girl decided that from now on she would call him Rice Pie. The young man wanted to treat her to pies, and Seoju said that she does not accept food from strangers. Surprised, the man asked if she had forgotten his name. Seoju replied that she remembered him very well. The girl said that he was General Rice Cake. The young man laughed and said that she was very funny. Then the girl asked why he said he didn't know her. The man replied that he did not understand what she was talking about. Seoju gets upset and says it's not important. She added that she would also pretend they were strangers so he wouldn't treat her to rice cakes anymore. The girl left, and the young man remained sitting on the stone. The next morning, the girls called Seoju and showed her a box of her favorite rice cakes that General Hokap had given her. One woon said that she used to really like rice cakes. Bu-sung added that General Hokap is really in love with Seoju, but for some reason won't even admit that they know each other. Young-bi thought that General Hokap wanted to see her again. Due to the fact that the man showed sincerity, she decided to write him a letter. "If you really want it, I will continue to greet you at the meeting," wrote the girl and asked Bu-sun to give the letter to General Hokap. The man asked his assistant Song-yeon if he gave the cakes to Seoju, and if she liked them from him. The young man bowed to His Majesty and said that everything is so. Bu-song knocked on the gate and called General Hokap's aide. She asked to deliver a letter to the general from Seoju. General Hokap read the letter and did not understand who Seoju was. Young-bi was sitting at the table at this time and was very much waiting for his answer. Before that, she received only 3 types of letters. The first, "I challenge you to a duel." The second, "I will kill you." And the third, "Vicious temptress, it's a pity that I'm dying without getting rid of my rage." The girl thought that General Rice Cake should not send her such a letter. As soon as Bu-sung returned, Seoju asked if she had an answer. The girl said that she was very sorry, but there was nothing. One woon reassured herself that the general just didn't have time to write her. Then Seoju offered the girls to treat themselves to the most delicious cakes. While they ate, she wrote another letter and asked Bu-sung to deliver it to General Hokap. The girls, shocked by the new task, said that they did not even have time to eat their cakes. Seoju said that he should know that she is waiting for his answer. Bu-sung promised to deliver the letter to the general and get an answer from him. When the girl was running to General Hokap, her concubine Yom Yin saw her and took the letter. Yom Yin read the letter in which Seoju demanded a quick response from the general and told her friends that Seoju's concubine is desperate for General Hokap. Concubine Yom Yin decided to deliver this letter to Her Majesty. The Empress summoned Seoju to her palace and asked why she was sending letters to another man, being the Emperor's concubine. Seoju replied that it was not a personal letter at all. The Empress said that she had a very different opinion of her, and added that she could not let it go unpunished. Her Majesty ordered Seoju to be imprisoned in the cold palace for a month. Yom Yin, who was standing next to the Empress, said that this was a very wise decision. The girl laughed and said that after the first night there, Seoju would be sobbing and begging to let her go. Young-bi did not understand what kind of palace it was and where it was. 2 days have passed since Seoju was imprisoned in the cold palace. Everyone told her that she would cry and begged her to be released. Therefore, Young-bi thought that it was some kind of burning prison or fiery abyss, and it was just a quiet remote residence. The girl, on the contrary, seemed very comfortable here. Young-bi decided to take up martial arts while she has a lot of free time. While the girl was practicing yoga and thinking about how to take revenge on the concubine Yam-yin, a man in a kimono jumped through the window to her in the palace. Soju recognized him as General Rice Cake and asked what he was doing here. She assumed that word had reached him that she was here. The young man handed her a soju rice cake and asked how she was feeling. The girl indignantly asked him why he did not send her an answer to her letter. Hawkhap was surprised to ask Soju if she had sent him a letter. Seoju angrily retorts that he's the reason she's here, and he's acting like he doesn't know anything. The general replied that he had heard that she had been imprisoned here because she had written personal letters to another man. Soju screamed that he was the same man. His Majesty came to the Empress and asked her to release Soju from the cold palace. Having said this, he left. Her Majesty grabbed her head, and the maid asked her if she was all right. The Empress could not believe that the Emperor had come all this way just to say this. She wondered when His Majesty had managed to take such an interest in the concubine Soju. She speculated that it might be because of the rumors of a relationship between concubine Seoju and General Hawkhap. The Empress ordered the maid to prepare Soju for a night with the Emperor. The girl lay down on the bed in her room and hugged the pillow. Won-woon was happy to be let go so quickly, and Bu-sun said she would cook something delicious. At that moment, the senior Yevtuk and his assistants entered the room. He orders Seoju to get up and follow him because she will be serving His Majesty tonight. The girl quietly asked Won-woon what that meant. The maid replied that she must spend the night with the Emperor in order to give birth to an heir for him in the future. Eutychus told the girl that she should wash herself thoroughly, cut her fingernails and toenails, and wear only underwear. Soju was shocked, but did everything right. She was lying in His Majesty's bedchamber and was wrapped in a blanket like pita bread. Young-bi was outraged by this strange custom. She was wrapped in a blanket and brought to the Emperor's bed. When the Emperor entered the room, he threw off his robe and the girl saw his beautiful body. Out of surprise, she said, "Wow." His Majesty saw her and began to dress. He asked Soju what she was doing here. The girl replied that she was here to do an important job with him that would bring an heir to their state. When the girl asked the Emperor if he wanted to do it with her, the young man blushed and turned away from her. Seoju said he had to get undressed. His Majesty asked why. Then the girl asked him to at least remove the veil and show his face. The Emperor asked why she should see his face. Seoju said it was for him to show her his good body again. The man carefully pushed the girl away and lay down next to her. Soju asked why he went to bed. The Emperor was silent. The girl screamed that he could at least untie her, but he pretended not to hear her. When she fell asleep, His Majesty admired the sleeping Soju. Waking up in the morning, Seoju saw Won-woon and Bu-sung by the bed. The girls told her that most concubines return to their rooms after the Emperor falls asleep, so they were very pleased that Soju stayed with His Majesty until morning. The girl asked her friends to pull her out of the blanket. When they released her, Won-woon said that His Majesty must have liked her very much, and Soju resentfully remembered that the Emperor did not touch her. Young-bi ran to the park, wondering if this was the same incident where nothing had happened, or if it was a special incident. While the girl was sitting on a rock, General Hawkhap approached her. He handed her colored cakes and asked why she was here alone. The young man said that there are already rumors that she has become the favorite of the Emperor. Soju admitted that she was wondering if His Majesty was okay with his male health. The man grabbed her head and said that only she could say such things among people. The general said that His Majesty was definitely fine. Then the girl asked how he could know about it. The man called his assistant Song-yeon and said that he saw everything. The young man added that he is the Emperor's bodyguard, but when he is not on duty, he travels with him. The man asked the assistant to play along with him, and the girl thought about his words. Soju thought it was very strange that the guard knew such details about His Majesty. She asked if it could be that the Emperor has an unconventional orientation. The man closed his eyes with his hand and said that he really wanted to slap her on the lips for such words. He then asked how long she had been thinking about it. The girl said that she was thinking about something else. The young man curiously asked Soju what she was thinking. The concubine said that perhaps His Majesty already has a girlfriend. Then she reminded the young man of the time when Guiyin thought that Soju liked the Emperor, and she decided to repeat her actions, but she did not succeed. Seoju assumed that His Majesty was just trying to make his lover jealous of him, so he specifically invited her over for the night. The man said that everything was wrong, and the girl added that she was sure of it. Otherwise, why would he wrap her in a blanket and leave her to sleep like that all night? In the evening, the emperor again called Soju to him, and she was again tightly wrapped in a blanket. The girl did not understand why His Majesty was calling her if he was just lying down next to her. Finally, the emperor turned to Soju. She was glad that he wanted to tell her why he called here. But the emperor asked the girl why it was so important for her to know why she was here. He added that the fact that he called her to him twice was already important, and she shouldn't care who and how many times he invites to his place for the night. Then the girl asked if his bodyguard Songyong would not be upset, because His Majesty had called her to him for the second time. The emperor was a little angry with her for such words and ordered her to sleep. The empress went to the window and said that the unknown Soju had unexpectedly won His Majesty's favor. So she must be smarter than they thought. The concubine agreed with Her Majesty and said that she had already spent 2 nights in a row with the emperor. The empress said that they could not prevent her from becoming his favorite. Her Majesty added that they could make sure she didn't get pregnant. The empress ordered to call Soju to her, so that they could drink together the most delicious gamju. As the girl sat down across from the empress, Her Majesty said that Soju was getting prettier every day, and this is probably because she is in love. The girl told the empress that she was very kind to her. In fact, Nyongbi only knew that Jung So-yeon is the head of Dongyang Palace, but she never visited her when the girl was ill, so Nyongbi didn't understand why she called Seoju. When the empress poured tea and offered to drink it, the girl clearly felt that it had a very strange aroma. Her Majesty said it was a special tea that had to be drunk before it cooled. Nyongbi knew that the empress had added something to it, but she knew that she had to drink it so as not to arouse suspicion. As soon as the girl drank the hot tea, blood flowed from her mouth. The empress called the doctor. She admitted that she had brewed contraceptive herbs for the emperor's concubine. The woman sincerely did not understand why Soju started coughing up blood. One Woon tearfully asked the doctor what happened to Soju while the girl slept in the bed in her room. The doctor replied that she would be fine, but he was worried about something else. The old doctor said that her meridian is so distorted that he has no idea what she ate. Nyongbi wondered if she had warped her meridians too much. When she heard the strange aroma of her tea, she decided that no one had the right to add anything to her food. Nyongbi knew that she could bend her inner meridian by pressing on her neck. Thus, she caused herself to vomit blood. It was very easy for her, even though Nyongbi had not regained her energy. But they did not yet know that they were dealing not with a simple concubine, but with the master Mirama. One Woon sat over Soju's bed and begged her to open her eyes. The girl cried that half a day had already passed and she still hadn't woken up. Seoju thought that her assistant was very shocked, so she should open her eyes and tell her that it's okay. But suddenly, the girl heard someone's heavy footsteps. One Woon saw the emperor and tried to wake up Soju, but His Majesty asked the girl to leave the room and leave them alone. Hearing a man's voice, Soju thought it was General Rice Cake and gave a faint smile. But when she heard One Woon address His Majesty, she was a little upset. The girl noticed that their voices were very similar to each other. The emperor touched her forehead and checked her temperature. Nyongbi was very uncomfortable that he was here. His Majesty sat by her bed, took off his mask and spent the whole night with Soju. Because she could not open her eyes, the girl quickly fell asleep and slept until morning. The next day, when Soju was sitting on a rock in the park, General Rice Cake approached her again. The young man sat down next to her and asked if it was true that she was sick after drinking tea. The girl asked the man if he came here because he was worried about her. The young man replied that he was really very worried and glad that she was all right. Then the general unrolled the rice cakes and put one in her mouth. Seoju ate the cake and asked why he brought the medicinal rice cakes. The young man replied that he had heard about what had happened. Then he asked the girl why she was so serious today. Soju replied that she had something to think about. The man asked if she was talking about the empress, who had planted something on her. The girl said that yesterday when she was sleeping, the emperor came to her. Shocked, the young man asked how she knew about this if she was asleep. Seoju admitted that she hadn't actually slept at all. Then the general asked what the emperor told her. Soju replied that His Majesty had said that he had never met a fairy as beautiful as her in his life. The general said he had never met a liar like her. He then added that, if true, she was very fortunate to receive such a compliment from His Majesty. Soju smiled and told the general not to be jealous of her. After all, she likes him much more than the emperor. The young man blushed, and the girl asked what she should do if she wanted to see him. Seoju sadly added that she didn't want to end up in the cold palace after writing him a letter. The man asked why she was calling him. The girl said that he was her only friend. General Rice Cake smiled and suggested that she leave the letters here, under the stone, and then he can come here whenever she wants. Soju was overjoyed and asked if he would really come. The young man promised her, and they took an oath on their fingers, shook each other's little fingers. The next day, a happy Soju ran to the park and left her letter on a stone. Guiyin saw this, took the letter and took it to the empress. She said that Seoju wrote another letter to another man. The girl added that, in her opinion, this time the cold palace will not be enough, and a more severe punishment should be devised. The empress said that she was tired of hearing about this concubine Soju. Then, Her Majesty asked what the letter was about. Guiyin said she hadn't read it. The girl wanted to take revenge on Soju for those strange movements that had caused her to lose the emperor's favor. Everyone around her discussed the fact that the emperor no longer needed her. Her Majesty asked for the letter to be read, and Guiyin said, "Tok, Suk-tok, and Yak-tok." The empress became angry and asked if Guiyin was mocking her. These were the names of rice cakes, so the empress banished the girl from the palace. The girls ate rice cakes and discussed that Guiyin wanted to slander Soju and was punished. Bu-sung thought and became a little sad. When Soju asked her what happened, the girl said that she was worried that His Majesty might call another concubine to him. When Young-bi went outside, it was already dark. She sat on the stairs and looked at the starry sky. The girl did not understand whether she was worried that the emperor would call another concubine to him. It seemed to her that a special relationship had developed between them, but she still didn't understand whether Gi-won knew from the beginning that he would betray her, or whether he betrayed her because he stopped loving her. Young-bi was called a temptress because she was a representative of the unorthodox direction, and everyone considered Gi-won a hero, since he was a representative of orthodox teachings. The girl remembered how the others were worried that she would spoil their proper Gi-won. Young-bi thought that he might have poisoned her because he was fed up with these conversations. Young-bi scolded herself for these thoughts and decided to forget about him. She was looking at the stars, when suddenly she saw a man who was jumping from roof to roof like a ninja. The girl smiled because before she liked to watch how fast they ran. It was an attack from orthodox teaching. That girl remembered that she is no longer Young-bi, so she must report what she saw. She decided to follow this man. Suddenly the girl heard the voices of her assistants who were looking for her. Young-bi remembered that she was in the body of a concubine, and even if she catches him, nothing good will come of it. Seoju found the girls and then headed to the investigation department. General Kimon asked the girl which suspicious man she saw. The concubine said that this man was dressed in all black and distinguished himself by the agility with which he jumped from roof to roof. She added that, judging by his technique, the young man belongs to orthodox teachings. Young-bi realized that she had said something too much and added that he flew away like a bird. Then the girl said that she could show on the map where he ran. Soju pointed her finger at the empress's palace and thought that this might cause another misunderstanding. The concubine said that she got scared and went to her room. General Kimon asked the girl to show on the map where the criminal came from. He added that she was the only witness who saw the assassin kill King Skoba. Soju asked who it was in shock. The general said that he had heard rumors that she had lost her memory. General Kimon explained that Swobu is His Majesty the Emperor's half-brother. The man asked the girl to indicate the place on the map, promising that no one would know that it was her. Soju understood that her one word could accuse anyone. It was a good opportunity to take revenge on those who did not let her live in peace lately. But if there is a witness who points to another place, she will be in trouble. In this situation, her hands were simply tied. The general asked the concubine why she was silent. Soju didn't know what to do. She regretted not following the man and attacking him. After all, Young-bi fights much better than he does psychological warfare. The emperor looked at his bed and thought that it must be very lonely here without Soju. His room was knocked by an assistant who came running to report that the concubine Soju had been detained. He added that she was detained by the investigation department. The young man said that one of those who shadowed His Majesty had killed King Swoba and escaped, and this girl witnessed his escape. The emperor was upset that she was the one who saw it. He didn't like the fact that she got into such difficult situations so often. First, she was sent to the cold palace, and now she was caught by the investigation department. The aide thought that the girl got into the cold palace only because of His Majesty. After all, it was he who posed as General Manhwa-Hub, and since King Swobu contacted criminals from Muramu to organize a coup d'etat, the emperor ordered to kill him. The emperor asked his aide to inform General Manhwa-Hub that Soju should be released from custody at the investigation department. The young man replied that he would do anything, and ran to the general. General Manhwa-Hub was going to the investigation department, and thinking that it was all because of this girl named Soju again. Lately he had heard a lot about her, but he hadn't even seen her. At His Majesty's order, he gave her the rice cakes, and now she must be fired from the investigation department. The man called General Kimon and ordered to release the concubine Soju. General Kimon said that it will not be easy, because she is the only witness in the case of the murder of King Swobu. General Manhwa-Hub asked in shock if King Swobu had been killed. Kimon then asked Manhwa-Hub how he came here without knowing it. The general added that probably the rumors that he is in love with this girl are true if he demands the release of an accomplice. General Kimon took General Manhwa-Hub by the shoulder and told him that he had no right to command the army. At that moment, the emperor's aide ran up to them and informed them that His Majesty had ordered the release of Soju. Then General Manhwa-Hub removed his hand from his shoulder and asked General Kimon if he did not think that the emperor had no right to command the army. General Kimon entered his office and said that the emperor and General Manhwa-Hub were trying to save the same woman. Soju was happy to hear this. The girl asked if she could go home. General Kimon told Soju that he would let her go today, but he would keep a close eye on her from now on. Soju didn't like that he was talking to her like some kind of criminal, but the girl smiled and thanked the general for letting her go. After returning home, Soju made delicious rice cakes and brought them to General Manhwa-Hub. The girl asked the aide to call the general and tell him that Soju had arrived. The aide said the general accepted the cakes as a sign of gratitude and asked her to return to him immediately. The girl did not understand why he came to dismiss her in the morning, and now he ignores her. Soju said she would go home and not hand over the cakes, and she herself hid behind a tree in order to deliver them personally to Manhwa-Hub, because she had made these cakes herself. After a while, she saw a man come out of the gate. The girl was shocked when she heard the assistant address him as General Manhwa-Hub. She thought, then who is General Rice Cake really? General Manhwa-Hub heard that there was someone behind the tree and headed towards him. The girl threw the tray of rice cakes on the ground and ran away. Manhwa-Hub picked up the cake and looked at it. He did not understand what was happening. Soju lay wrapped in a blanket in His Majesty's room again, thinking. She wondered if Manhwa-Hub wasn't the general, or maybe she hadn't heard his name in the park then. The emperor asked the concubine Soju why she was so tormented. The girl asked His Majesty how he would feel if someone lied to him. The man was a little confused. His Majesty asked who exactly lied to her. Soju asked what he would do with this person. The emperor said she could not say who it was. But this person may have had reasons for this, although it is wrong to deceive. He asked, maybe we should find out what made him do that. Soju said she didn't want to know anything. The girl added that these are the problems of that person, not hers. His Majesty reminds the concubine that he fired her from the investigation department, and she turns away from him. Soju thanked His Majesty for freeing her. The girl said that they wanted to accuse her of some incomprehensible matter. The emperor smiled and told Soju that sometimes knowledge can be harmful and she should remember that. They fell asleep again, turning away from each other. In the morning, the girl saw a table generously covered with delicious dishes in her room. Soju asked Wonwoon and Bu Sung what kind of banquet it was. The girl said that it was His Majesty the Emperor who had sent her breakfast. Then the girl offered to have breakfast together. The assistants asked if they were allowed to do this. Soju replied that food is even more delicious when shared with friends. During the meal, the girl thought about what the emperor had said to her. He said that the person who cheated on her had his own reasons, but she believed that it was not so. If General Rice Cake pretended to be General Manhwa-Hub, then there is something strange about it. And the fact that General Manhwa-Hub knew about it from the very beginning, but did nothing, was also strange. The girl assumed that they were friends, but then she thought, General Manhwa-Hub couldn't just let it go if his friend fell in love with His Majesty's concubine and took his name anyway. So Soju decided to ask him directly and went to the park. The girl was sitting on a rock when the man approached her. He brought her rice cakes again. Soju ate one cake because she thought that the food didn't do her any harm. and asked General Hawkhap if he had fought in the battles. The man replied that he had a little military experience. The girl thought he was lying, so she asked if he could tell her some stories from his battles. The concubine said she liked stories of duels, tales of one warrior fighting against many opponents, and tales of war. Soju thought that now he won't be able to get away with it, because he is a fake general. Therefore, it is unlikely that he will be able to invent something that he does not know. The young man said that once he was sent by order of His Majesty to clear the territory of the remnants of Sylvan's army, and they defeated them in numbers. The girl was surprised that this story was so short. General Rice Cake said that real battles weren't as interesting as she thought. Then he asked the girl to tell something about herself. The young man said he had heard that the emperor had sent her a sumptuous breakfast. Soju sighed heavily and replied that these were all just tricks to fool other people. The man was surprised and asked why the emperor would do this. The girl admitted that it seems to her that His Majesty already has a loved one. She added that she didn't want to tell anyone about it, but she thought it was his assistant, Song Yun. The emperor was shocked to hear this about himself. It was unpleasant for him that his beloved girl thought about him in this way. When she left, he sat on a rock in the park for a long time. A younger half-brother, the fourth Grand Duke, approached him and said that he was upset that His Majesty was summoning a concubine to a place where only members of the royal family should be. He then said that this concubine was worth summoning. After all, she is quite intelligent and has a good imagination. The emperor replied that this was no reason for merriment. The fourth said that it was very sweet, for His Majesty had always dreamed of finding one who would love him as a man, and not as an emperor. And he even pretended to be a general. When Seoju returned to her room, the girls informed her that General Hawkhap sent her cakes again. They were so beautiful that it was a shame to eat them. The girl was angry that this liar continued to deceive her, and ran to General Hawkhap. When he left the house, the concubine ran up to him and said her name was Soju. When the man realized that the same Soju was standing in front of him, he offered the girl a walk. They walked for a long time in silence until the girl started first. She asked the general if he wanted to tell her something. The young man said he wasn't sure if he should tell her about it. Soju was a little confused. The general sighed heavily and told the girl that he had a friend, and he likes her very much, although he does not know whether it is friendship or love between them. The man then admitted that he had allowed his friend to be called by his name, and that he was the real General Hawkhap. Soju asked who his friend really was then. Hawkhap apologized and replied that he could not reveal his friend's identity. However, the general assured that his friend is not a criminal and does not want to harm her. The general asked the girl to give his friend the opportunity to tell everything himself a little later. Yomyun saw them together and was shocked. Her assistant asked if they should tell the empress about it. The girl replied that it might harm General Hawkhap, and she did not want that. The Dowager Empress welcomed all the concubines to her banquet. Her Majesty told her son that she had been very sad lately, so she had arranged this banquet. During the meal, the emperor kept his eyes on his concubine Soju, and she was very angry at that time. She wanted to chat with General Rice Cake as soon as possible and clarify everything. The young empress, sitting next to His Majesty, asked if the emperor would like to listen to the girls' performances. The emperor agreed, and Her Majesty told the concubines to recite the poems in turn. Soju was shocked that she would have to recite the poem. After the two girls, it was her turn. She thought that she could tell something, and if you say it sincerely, then everyone will listen carefully. His Majesty looked intently at the girl, but she did not look at him at all. Soju began her speech. She closed her eyes and said that the world is full of rice cakes. You always remained yourself, even though you pretended to be someone else. And I always liked everything about you, even though you were different from others, and let you hide, calling yourself another cake. Now I figured out who you have always been, said the girl. The emperor was frightened that her speech was addressed to him. He thought she had revealed his identity. At the end of her speech, Soju said that it was a jatguri rice cake, unpleasant and sticky. The emperor sighed in relief, while the rest of the audience dropped their mouths in surprise. Soju was smiling and didn't understand why everyone was silent. She thought that everyone was very impressed with her poem. In childhood, the girl dropped out of school in favor of martial arts. But she, all the same, believed that she had an unsurpassed artistic talent. After the banquet, Seoju received a note asking her friend Rice Cake to meet her. The girl came to the park, where a man was already waiting for her, who was sitting on a stone. Seoju asked what happened since it was the first time he called her first. The young man said that she must already know that he was not Hawk-Hap. The girl said that she met him personally and he is very handsome. The man was a little upset. When Seoju asks what his real name is, the man says he can't tell her. The girl got angry and asked how much longer he would fool her. Seoju sat down next to him on a rock and said that she too has a secret that she hasn't told. The young man asked with interest what the secret was. The girl replied that she was not going to say anything to the man who did not even tell her his name. Then he gave her a bag of cookies and left. When Seoju opened the bag, she saw the jatguri cakes she had talked about at the banquet. The girl wondered how Rice Cake could know about this. She assumed that her poems had already been distributed throughout the palace. Then the girl thought that her friend might be close to His Majesty's court. Seoju then reflected on the fact that even though Rice Cake didn't say his name, there was nothing wrong with that. After all, she is just a concubine. The emperor in ordinary clothes moved a little away from the girl and asked his assistant Song-yeon what secret Seoju had. Is it possible that she hides her identity? Song-yeon said that Seoju is Her Majesty Yeonbi's younger sister, and below her in rank is Her Majesty's half-sister. The emperor asked if it was a secret. The assistant replied that everyone knows about it, and it turns out that she has nothing to hide. The young man assumed that Seoju's concubine had specifically said that she had some kind of secret. Perhaps she was angry that His Majesty did not tell her his name. The emperor thought about the fact that the 3 girls in the palace were members of the same family. He was scared that the young Guiying family had specially sent such a beautiful girl to the palace just to control it with her help. His Majesty suggested that it might be a conspiracy. The emperor asked his aide Song-yeon how he saw Jung Seoju. The young man said that she was an empty-headed beauty. His Majesty asked if he could not see her intelligence and ingenuity. But he did not see. Yeom-yin came to General Hawk-Hap and asked why he told her that he didn't even know who Seoju was. The general replied that it was so. Then the girl told the man that she was asking for the last time what kind of relationship he had with his concubine Seoju. The general tried to say something, but Yeom-yin cut him off. She asked the man not to lie to her, because everyone already knows that he went to the investigation department to get young Seoju fired. Yeom-yin asked if he liked this girl. General Hawk-Hap turned away and replied that even if it was, it shouldn't concern her. The girl screamed, how could he say such a thing? Hawk-Hap reminded that they are no longer in a relationship and are no longer bound by an engagement that has remained in the past. The young man asked the girl to return to his rooms, justifying it by the fact that it is cool enough outside at night. When he left, Yeom-yin was left alone. Seoju enjoyed a delicious jatguri cake and wondered where Rice Cake gets such goodies. She thought that only the head eunuch or someone higher in rank could get such cakes. Seoju brightened and understood why Rice Cake had hidden his name. The girl decided that her friend was a senior eunuch. She could not believe what she was telling the emperor's eunuch about His Majesty's preferences. As Seoju ponders this, Won-woon rushes into the room and tells her that something is wrong. She said that the body of the chief eunuch was found in the well. Seoju was shocked by this news. She asked if he was very handsome. Won-woon asked in surprise why she was so interested in this, since the most important thing is that this is the emperor's chief eunuch. Also, it was said that he was killed by Yam Guiyin. Seoju asked why she would kill him. Won-woon said they would find out soon as she was currently being interrogated at the investigation department. When Seoju arrived at the park, she walked around the stone and wondered why Rice Cake didn't come today. She pushed away the bad thoughts that he had been killed. Still, the girl hoped that he was alive, and left him a note under the stone. His Majesty in ordinary clothes came to their meeting place. Under the stone, he saw a note in which it was written, "If you are alive, confirm that you are alive." The emperor was very surprised to read such a letter from Seoju. General Kimon was interrogating the concubine Yeom Guiyin in his office. He repeatedly asked the girl what she was doing at night near the well. The girl shouted that she was tired of repeating. She said she went outside for a short time to meet a person, and on the way back she accidentally noticed a body. General Kimon reminded the girl that she never said who she was seeing, but Yeom-yin couldn't tell about seeing General Hawk-Hap. Yeom-yin didn't want him to get in trouble because of her. She blamed Seoju for everything. The girl believed that if she had not been here, Hawk-Hap would not have changed so much. Concubine Yeom-yin was so angry with her that she told General Kim-on that it was concubine Soju who called her to meet her at night near the well. Soju received a note that said, "I'm alive, don't worry." She sighed in relief and smiled. The girl noticed how beautiful the handwriting was in the letter. She thought that eunuchs often wrote notes, ran errands for the emperor, and composed poems. Therefore, they must have good handwriting. Suddenly, the door of her room was opened. 5 men entered the room, and the main one said that General Kim-on wants to see the concubine Soju in his interrogation. The girl did not understand why the general wanted to see her again. Bu-sung and Won-woon were shocked. When Seoju arrived for questioning, General Kim-on immediately said that the head eunuch's body had been found in the well. The girl said that she did not understand why she was put here. Kim-on said that at the moment concubine Yeom Gui-ying has been charged with the murder. He added that during interrogation, she said that she had met concubine Young Soju by the well. The girl indignantly said that they were not close enough to meet her without witnesses. General Kim-on said that they needed to move forward with the investigation at the moment and called his assistant. He ordered her to search the witness for suspicious items. Seoju didn't understand why Yeom-yin had set her up like that. The assistant found only the letter that Seoju hid in her sleeve. General Kim-on said it was a very strange note. A few hours later, General Kim-on again asked concubine Soju if she wanted to tell him something. The girl said that she did not meet concubine Yeom-yin at night. Soju added that she was sleeping in her room. Then the man asked how she would explain what was written in this note. The general told the girl that he would not let her go until she told the truth. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door of the office, and General Kim-on's assistant ran to them. He reported that His Majesty had ordered the release of the concubine Soju. The young man added that there had been a misunderstanding because of the note the emperor had written, so His Majesty demanded that Soju be released. The girl was a little surprised. General Kim-on told Soju that she managed to escape from him again, but he added that if she continued to run away, he would have to chase her even faster. Soju was only interested in how the emperor learned about the note from rice cake. In the evening, the concubine Soju was again brought to the emperor wrapped in a blanket. The girl thanked His Majesty for helping her. The emperor said that no concubine in the world had given him as much trouble as she did. Soju replied that it was because she was unique in the whole world. His Majesty asked the girl if she was wondering how he found out about the note. The concubine said she was just about to ask about it. The emperor said that the reason he saved her was because the person she was cheating on with the notes asked him to do so. Soju was very surprised and asked if it was her friend Rice Cake who asked His Majesty to save her. The girl thought, Rice Cake is the chief eunuch of the emperor. After all, this explains everything, and he is also well acquainted with the emperor's assistant Song Yeon. His Majesty leaned over Soju's face, which startled the girl a little. The man asked how she felt about his interest in her. Soju asked His Majesty if she could answer him honestly. After he answered yes, the girl admitted that she did not like it very much. After all, after she began to serve His Majesty, various accusations were hurled at her. After listening to Soju's answer, the emperor said that life in the palace is cruel. He added that the more attention he paid to her, the more she would be hated. Then the girl said that she did not need His Majesty's love if it was accompanied by attacks on her. She already had enough attacks when she was Nyongbi. The emperor turned away from Soju and told her to sleep. The girl did not understand why his face had changed so much. His Majesty no longer called her to him. And so the week passed. Yeom-yin's assistants told her that the emperor had ordered the release of concubine Soju from the investigation department. They said it was too much. One of the aides said that General Hawkhap could have protected Yeom-yin with just one word. But he didn't. Yeom-yin said she won't let Soju be with him. Another assistant asked if it's time to meet a man who guarantees the fulfillment of all wishes. Yeom-yin remembered to take a piece of red cloth and go out to the Hwangwajeon wall at night. Then it is not known where the man in the mask appeared from. The hooded man asked the girl for what wish she summoned him. Concubine Yeom-yin said that she wants to take revenge on General Hawkhap and concubine Young Soju. She asked if he could grant this wish. The man replied that of course he could. Then the girl asked how much it would cost. The masked stranger replied that he does not accept payment in cash. Yeom-yin asked her husband what he needed then. He gave the girl a roll of black cloth and asked her to bury it where, even during the day, the sun does not reach it. You should put a note next to it with the inscription, "The Revival of John Young-bi." You should also bow 3 times. When the man left, Yeom-yin unrolled the roll and saw a lock of blonde hair there. Won-woon excitedly informed Soju that the court lady's attitude towards her changed immediately as soon as the emperor stopped summoning her. But they laughed at her. When His Majesty showed interest in the concubine Soju, she was subjected to numerous attacks. But as soon as he stopped summoning her, they began to ignore her. Seoju sat on a rock and thought about how this place was no different from Murimu. Suddenly, a young man dressed in expensive fur approached the girl. The man sat down next to her on the rock, and Soju asked who he was. The fourth Grand Duke introduced himself and said that he had forgotten that she did not remember anyone. The girl heard that the fourth Grand Duke is the younger half-brother of the emperor. The prince smiled and said that it was such a coincidence that they met here. Soju saw the prince's fan and asked if he was hot because she was a bit chilly. The young man replied that there is a famous family in Marima that knows martial arts. This is the Jagal family. They say that even a fan in their hands becomes a weapon. Myung-bi knew they were using a sword, not a fan. And these are all just legends. She asked the prince if he knew the Jagal family. The young man replied that he just likes Marim. The girl was surprised by what the man from the palace said about it. In the eyes of a person who is nurtured like a flower in a noble house, Murim appears as a fascinating place. It was very strange for her. The prince said that he is just obsessed with Jung Young Kum Gewan right now, and also another master named John Young-bi. The girl was shocked by what she heard. She blushed all over, and the young man asked if everything was okay. Seoju asked if young Nyeon-bi's reputation was good. The prince was surprised that she knew anything about Nyeon-bi. The girl said that she once heard about her. The man was glad that the concubine had heard about such great people. He said that Jung Young-kum killed the beautiful Jung Nyeon-bi, and Jung Nyeon-bi rose from the dead. The girl could not believe what she had just heard. Soju sat at home for a long time and thought about whether it was possible that someone was pretending to be her. She remembered the prince's words that the Sahabi group and the secret society had united after the rescue of Jung Nyeon-bi. And now they were acting together. They even sent a warning to Jung Young-kum that they planned to take revenge on him for the death of Jung Nyeon-bi. The prince said that now it will be even more fun. Soju mentioned that Sahabi is a group run by Ta Jung-jung. Whoever pretended to be her, she thought, was completely out of his mind if he teamed up with him. The girl understood that she would have to go outside the palace in order to clarify the situation. Since the walls of the palace were too high, Soju decided to do some physical training. And because Rice Cake often visits Chongjuk Park, she will have to find another place to train. Suddenly, the girl thought that someone was calling her by the name of John Young-bi. She asked her assistants if they had heard anything strange. The girls replied that they had not heard anything. Soju said she heard a strange voice. The girl heard her real name again and lost consciousness. She fell to the floor and Won-woon and Bu-sung rushed to her side. They were very frightened and called a doctor. General Hak-hap reported to His Majesty that he had completed the investigation under his orders. According to this investigation, it was found that King Swobu had indeed joined the Sahabi group. The emperor said it was a bit unusual. After all, he could unite with a demonic or blood sect. Hak-hap added that they were originally a small renegade frontier band, but now their number is growing rapidly, and the reason for that was the unexpected appearance of a new leader. Suddenly, a junior eunuch ran into the hall and informed His Majesty that Young Soju had lost consciousness. The assistant informed Yeom-yin that Seoju had passed out. She asked in horror if the curse had really worked. Yeom-yin asked the assistant how she was doing. The girl replied that even the doctor did not know why she lost consciousness. And His Majesty is in a rage. Yeom-yin fearfully asked if there was a possibility that Soju would die. The assistant said her heart rate had slowed down a lot. The girl was afraid that it happened because of her, but she had no such thing in her thoughts to kill Soju. Yeom-yin also began to worry about what would happen to General Hak-hap. After all, she said then that she wanted to take revenge on both of them. Yeom-yin thought that he might have passed out too, and quickly ran to him. Nyeong-bi regained consciousness and realized that she was not in her chambers in the palace. The girl got up from the bed and went to the mirror. In the reflection, she saw herself in her body. Meanwhile, Bu-sung and Won-woon were crying over Soju's bed and begging her to open her eyes. Suddenly, the emperor ran into the room and ordered the doctor to check Soju's pulse. The old doctor said her heartbeat had slowed down tremendously. His Majesty asked what it meant, whether it could be some dangerous disease. The man replied that there were no wounds on the girl's body, and that she had not been poisoned. The emperor became angry and asked why her heart hardly beat then. The doctor admitted that he did not understand why this was happening. The emperor ordered him to urgently find out and find the cause of her condition as soon as possible. The girl sat down on the bed and tested her inner energy in the lotus position. Now, Young-bi could definitely tell that it was her body, and she had completely returned to her normal state. She was very happy to be back in a body that is filled with internal energy and has a developed waste paper. But she had to get out of this unknown place as soon as possible. Young-bi was very tired of thinking that she would be persecuted again by idiots from the orthodox teaching. And besides, she didn't know what would happen to the rice cake now. Then the girl remembered the emperor. But she decided that everything would be fine with him, because His Majesty had stopped calling her to him a long time ago. She felt sorry for Won-woon and Bu-sun. After all, when the real Soju lost consciousness after eating the bitter dragon fruit, the girls cried a lot for her. Remembering the poison, Young-bi wondered why she had returned to her body if she had also eaten the fruit. The girl put her hand on her heart to listen to its beating. Very frightened, she ran to the mirror and undressed. In the place where the heart should be, Young-bi saw a scar. She realized that her heart had been cut out. Suddenly, a man entered her room without knocking and grabbed the girl. He got angry and reminded her that she should treat this body like a jewel. Young-bi saw Ta Jung-chun in front of her and realized that she was now in the Sahabi group's territory. He was very rude to her. But John told the girl that if Lady Young-bi had even one scratch on her body, she would not live. Young-bi grabbed him by the collar and asked where he had taken her heart. Nyan, my love, you're back," said the boy and smiled kindly at her. Young-bi indignantly reminded Ta Jung that she forbade him to call himself that. The young man said that he saved her, so he can do a little more as a savior. The girl asked how it happened. Ta Jung said that he found her body in the cave. Suddenly, Young-bi's eyes darkened. The girl woke up again in the room of Seoju's concubine. Beside her bed, she saw the emperor sitting on a chair and sleeping, holding her hand. Young-bi wondered why she had returned to Soju's body again. She still did not understand if this meant that she could jump from one body to another with her soul at any time. His Majesty awoke and anxiously asked the girl how she was. The concubine asked the emperor what happened to her. The man replied that he himself would like to know it. He added that he was very shocked when he was told that she had passed out. Young-bi remembered someone calling her before she passed out. She decided that Ta Chung must know something about this, the girl thought, and the emperor pressed her tightly to him and asked Soju to take better care of his health. Then the emperor said that he wanted to summon her again. After all, he has no other choice because he is very worried about her. Therefore, the man asked to accept his affection. Yom-yin's assistant unearthed a curled roll. Yom-yin is very happy that they found this letter and now Hawkap will be all right. The girl said that they had to leave here quickly before anyone saw them. And it was at this moment that General Kimon approached them and asked what they were doing here. Over tea, the girls asked Soju if she was feeling better. The girl replied that everything was fine and asked what she was like when she lost consciousness. Won-woon said her heart was barely beating and everyone was very scared. Young-bi realized that when her soul returned to her real body, that body was just an empty shell. She thought that this was somehow suspicious, and decided that she needed to regain her combat power as soon as possible to get out of here and find out everything. Bu-sung told Soju how His Majesty scolded the doctor while she was unconscious. The girl, of course, was pleased that the emperor was so worried about her, but she thought that her friend Rice Cake would worry about her condition, but the emperor would not care. And it turned out that she didn't even know where he was. Her thoughts were interrupted by General Kimon entering their room. Seoju asked fearfully what he wanted from her again. Kimon replied that this time he came here through Yom Gui-yin. The general said they should go to the investigation department. The man added that he hoped that Soju would not hate him permanently. The girl asked what was wrong with this Yom Yin again. General Kimon said that Yom Gui-yin was accused of putting a curse on young Soju. Soju asked in surprise why she did that. General Kimon asked the girl if her real name was Jung Young-bi. This question shocked her. She asked the general why he said that. The man assumed that she had changed her name, which was given to her by her parents. The girl replied that the name Young Soju was with her since birth. Seoju screamed that his words were very hurtful to her. General Kimon apologized and said that since she didn't know the name, he understood everything, and left. As the general closed the door behind him, the girls asked Soju if she was okay. The girl grabbed her head and said that this General Kimon always involves her in some strange stories. She went outside to walk in the garden near the palace. Nyung-bi didn't understand how General Kimon knew her real name, and if Yeom Gui-ying knew who she really was. The girl did not like the fact that General Kimon constantly suspects her of something and sniffs out something all the time. Soju decided that now she had to behave differently. After all, she is no longer young Nyung-bi. Suddenly, the girl felt that someone was following her. Soju turned around and saw a man behind her who wanted to attack her. She placed her hand on the attacker's chest and burned through his body with her magic. It was Jun's defense. Nyung-bi came up with this martial art herself. It is not necessary to invest internal energy in it. This is an attack method that shakes the enemy's internal energy. Seeing that the man was unconscious, the girl thought that it was necessary to report the attack on her. But then she imagined with horror what would happen to her when General Kimon realized that she had caught the assassin. After all, she is just a weak woman who has no combat power. With this act, she simply admits that she is young Nyung-bi. The girl assumed that it is possible to kill him and bury the body in the ground. But still, she decided that Soju shouldn't do that. The girl tried to drag the body somewhere far away, but she did not have enough strength. When Soju heard someone coming, she hid the man in the bushes and covered him with her body. She thought it was one of the servants and that person would just pass by without paying any attention to her. Unfortunately, it was General Kimon. He asked the girl what she was doing here. Soju replied that she went for a walk to admire the starry sky and breathe fresh air. General Kimon told the concubine that it hadn't been that long since she last passed out, so he would escort her to her chambers. The girl thanked for the care and said that she would get to her rooms by herself. General Kimon then asked what she was hiding behind her back. Soju replied that she was not hiding anything. Then Kimon asked the girl to move a little to the side. Soju told the general that she doesn't like being told what to do. The general said that he does not like to be disobeyed. The girl said she was going to leave, but suddenly she hit Kimon on the head with her defensive power. The man fell to the ground. Now there were two people lying on the ground. Soju looked at the two of them and wondered what she should do now. She decided to put General Kimon on top of the assassin. Suddenly, the girl heard someone calling the general and fell to the ground next to them. The general's men ran up and saw three people lying unconscious on the ground. The hooded man told the masked man that the 12th, which had been sent to General Manhwa-Hub, had failed their mission and escaped. And the 25th, who was sent to John Soju, not only failed the task but was also caught. The masked man asked if the emperor had guards attached to young Soju. The other man said it was wrong. It's just that General Kimon happened to be passing by and witnessed the attack on young Soju, which is why he saved her. The masked man said that General Kimon is very strong, and young Soju was just lucky. Therefore, most likely they will not be able to fulfill Yeom Gui-yin's wish. Won-woon and Bu-sung were feeding Soju and asked how she was doing. They were very worried, because the girl had just regained consciousness and had already survived the attack. Bu-sung said that it's very good that General Kimon caught the assassin, and Won-woon added that he still hasn't recovered from this fight. Nyung-bi seemed to cover her tracks perfectly, but all the same it all looked quite strange. Suddenly, a eunuch knocked on their room and informed them that His Majesty was summoning Jung Soju. The girl began to change, and the eunuch said that she was not going to His Majesty's bedroom today. Soju was surprised but obeyed and followed the eunuch. When they met on the street, Soju asked the emperor if today was a special day. The man excitedly asked the girl if everything was okay with her. He said he had heard about the attack, so he would provide her with a martial arts eunuch to accompany her whenever she wanted to leave the palace. Soju said that it was not necessary, and the emperor gave her a bouquet of pink roses. He apologized for putting her in danger. The man confessed to Seoju that he wants her to always be by his side because he loves her. The girl answered the emperor that his love was not reciprocated. Young Gui-yin was taken into custody. General Kimon said that she cursed another concubine right in the palace, so it would be difficult for the emperor to turn a blind eye to it. The masked man approached Gui-yin's cell and asked if she buried what he gave her. The girl shouted that she did not want to kill anyone, but only to take revenge on them. Then the man said that she still had to pay him for her order, and Gui-yin replied that she was already paying for her wish. The girl added that she was here because young Soju passed out when she buried the thing he gave her. The masked man was shocked to hear this. He didn't understand why a certain concubine had passed out if that girl had buried the guarantee of true recovery that belonged to young Nyung-bi. Jeon Soju responded sincerely to the emperor's confession that she did not love him. The girl did not want anyone to love her at all. After Gaewon fell in love with her, she became an enemy to everyone in Murama. The emperor's love carries with it the same consequences. She knew that if this man who was on top of the world loved her, then all other people would hate her. And even if they manage to save their love, it is not a fact that they will be happy. His Majesty smiled and replied that he loved her precisely because she did not love him. Surprised, the girl asked if there was any sense in this. The emperor said that she should just accept his love. It was strange, but she was fine with it. Soju asked what would happen if she fell in love with him too. The emperor replied that they would think about it when it happened. The concubine sat in her room and looked at the flowers that the emperor gave her. In addition, he attached to her a eunuch who has fighting strength. So now she couldn't train again. General Kimon visited Soju's room and asked the girl why he couldn't remember what happened last night. He admitted that he does not remember anything, and does not understand how he saved her from the assassin and caught him. The concubine said that she did not see anything because she was very scared. General Kimon asked Soju if she was the one who hit the assassin first, knocking him unconscious, and then hit him too. The girl indignantly showed the man her wrists and asked if she could beat someone with those hands. There was not a single muscle on Jeon Soju's body. After all, she only trained endurance and inner energy. General Kimon said he hadn't recovered from the attack, so he couldn't think straight, and left. Seoju sighed in relief when he left, but was a little sad that she didn't train her inner energy to get away without being noticed by General Kimon. She wanted to find a place where no one goes to train. Soju asked the girls where she could meet His Majesty. Prince Four asked his brother if he had told Soju that he loved her, and that he didn't need her love in return. The emperor replied that it was so. Then the prince said that no woman would want to hear such words, especially since she still has a friend like Rice Cake. He added that the truth will still come out. The emperor replied that he believed neither in people nor in love. He believed that now their relationship was perfect. Even if Soju betrays him, he won't be hurt. The prince asked his brother what he would do with Soju if she started asking him for all kinds of things. For example, give me gold or give me silver. The emperor smiled and asked if he really thought she was the kind of woman who demanded gifts. Suddenly, they are informed that concubine young Soju is requesting a meeting with His Majesty. The girl told the emperor that she wanted to ask him for something. The prince immediately smiled because she said that. The emperor said she could say what she wanted and he would do anything for his beloved Soju. Then the girl asked if there was such a place on the territory of the palace, where his subjects rarely went. The emperor assumed that she wanted to see him there, but Soju added that His Majesty should not appear there either. After all, it should be a place where she can be alone with herself. Young-bi thought that it was very convenient to be loved by such a respectable person. She didn't have to check that the emperor had found a place that suited her so quickly. It was a green lawn with a high fence near the palace. As soon as the girl decided to start her training, the emperor approached her. Soju asked His Majesty why he had come here. The emperor replied that it was a secret place. The girl said that she asked for such a place so that His Majesty would not enter there. The emperor said somewhat insultingly that she was the only girl out of all the concubines who did not want to spend time with him. Soju replied that there might be more like her. To this, His Majesty replied that he did not care about them, because he did not want to spend time with them. The girl looked at his lips. The man asked if she wanted to kiss him. Soju replied that it was completely absurd. Then the emperor asked her to repeat after him, "Your Majesty, I love you." Surprised, the girl asked if he was not satisfied that she did not love him. The emperor said that there could not be such a concubine who could not say that. Seoju reminded him that she should just accept his love. The emperor said that she had no equal in conversation. The girl said that she has only one goal, to win. His Majesty patted the girl on the head and said that this is why he likes her. When the emperor left, Young-bi looked after him and thought how sincere he was with her. When Soju returned to her quarters, Busung said she had good news. She said that the Dowager Empress wanted to dine with her tomorrow. Young-bi only knew that she was the main mistress of this palace and the mother of the emperor. Soju ran to the park to ask Rice Cake for advice. She thought that he must know how she should behave properly at such a dinner with the empress, because he has long served as a eunuch at court. The man was sitting on a stone. The girl happily waved at him and said that they had not seen each other for a long time. The Rice Cake indignantly asked where she had been all this time. He said he was very worried about her. She understood that he had heard about the attack on her, which is why he was worried. But the girl did not know how to hide the fact that she had revealed his identity. Pulling herself together, Seoju told him that she needed some personal advice. The man with a smile on his face asked if she wanted to win the emperor's heart. Seoju replied that she was not interested in such matters. The girl said that she was more interested in what the Grand Empress liked. The young man asked the girl in surprise why she needed it. Seoju said that the emperor's mother had invited her to dinner. Then the young man advised her to just be herself. The girl said that she was of course a true charm, but the Grand Empress might think otherwise. The young man said that once Her Majesty was burned by a lie, because the person she was talking to pretended to be perfect. Therefore, the man advised Seoju to just be sincere. He added that she is beautiful. The girl blushed and said that it was time for her to go. She ran, and the young man remained sitting on a stone. Young-bi was glad that Rice Cake said that. In Marima, many people hated her just because she breathes. It happened that she asked herself if her very existence could be a problem for everyone. Dining with Empress Seoju was a bit awkward. The great Empress looked at her very carefully and did not smile at all. The girl was worried whether she had made a mistake. The Empress asked Seoju if she knew who the concubine was. The girl replied that she had no idea about it. Her Majesty then asked what she would do if the concubines fought. Seoju smiled and said that it all depends on whether they have weapons in their hands. The Empress laughed loudly and said that now she understood why His Majesty was interested in her. After all, she is not like others. Because usually people put on a mask when entering the palace or occupying some government position. Therefore, the Empress admitted that she misses such bright people who do not plan anything bad. Seoju realized that Her Majesty liked her, and the girl became a little calmer. Then the Empress said that she likes Seoju much more than the bastard Giwal. The girl was very pleased to hear this, but she did not know who this Giwal was. Busung told Seoju that this was the man the previous emperor hated more than anyone. Seoju said that this is the first time she has heard of this. Busung reminded the girl that she recently lost her memory. Then she spoke of Hua Yan, the emperor's older sister. Giwal is a man of low birth whom the princess fell in love with. Everyone around thought that he was a good man who loved the princess. But in fact, it was only a deception for the sake of status. Because of this, Princess Hua Yan drowned in the pond. Since then, the Dowager Empress and His Majesty hate it when people try to trick them. Young-bi remembered how they started dating. Giwan saved her from being chased by giving her a hand to jump onto a building. She thought that she should not have taken his hand then. Gaewon was sitting at a bar drinking and blaming himself for Young-bi's death. Suddenly, he heard the men at the next table talking about Jung Young-bi being seen alive. In addition, she also joined the Sahabi group. Giwan walked up to the man who was telling this and pressed him against the wall. He asked why he was telling such stories. But the man said that it was true, and that he had personally seen Jung Young-bi walking alongside the leader of the Sahabi group. Haiwan, with tears in his eyes, asked himself if it could be that she is alive. Seoju sat in her secret place, upset that her training failed again because it rained. She was watching the rain while sitting on the porch. Suddenly, she saw General Hawkhap coming towards her and was very surprised. The general came closer to her and greeted her. The young man said that they needed to chat. Seoju asked in surprise what exactly he wanted to talk to her about. Hawkhap asked for help to free Yam Gui-yin. The girl indignantly asked why she should help the person who put a curse on her. The young man said that it was not just a request. He added that he could repay her for this favor. Seoju asked how exactly he could thank her. Hawkhap said, "You will see the emperor's face without the veil." The girl replied that she was not plotting behind the emperor's back. General Hawkhap asked in surprise, "Did not every concubine dream of seeing His Majesty's face?" Seoju says that she is not like everyone else and asks why she should help Yam Gui-yin. Hawkhap blushed a little and asked the girl if she had heard that they were engaged. The girl did not know about this, so she was a little shocked. The concubine asked the general to wait a moment and went to her room. After some time, she brought him a letter. Seoju revealed that in this letter she wrote that Yam Gui-yin had nothing to do with the curse and promised to send it to General Kimon. General Hawkhap told the girl that every time she surprised him more and more, he promised to repay her one day for her kindness. Seoju said she didn't need anything, but the man wanted to tell her something for her help. But suddenly the emperor approached them and said that he needed to talk to his concubine. When General Hawkhap left, Seoju asked His Majesty what he wanted to talk to her about. The emperor said that he, as a man who loves her, does not want to see other men near her. Yeom Gui-yin thanked Jung So-ju for coming to visit her. The girl said that she needs to move more. After all, her body is not in the best shape now due to a long enough stay in the isolation ward. So-ju asked the concubine why she invited her here. Yeom Yin admits that General Kim-an said that she was only released because she asked for it. So-ju revealed that General Hawk-hap asked her to do it. The girl was shocked at first, but then she was very happy. Yeom Yin thanked So-ju for telling her about it, because now she would know that she wasn't betrayed. Yeom Yin added that she would still be indebted to her. The girl then handed So-ju a small bottle of tincture and said it was for His Majesty. So-ju asked why she would give it to the emperor and why she wouldn't do it herself. Yeom Yin smiled and said that she should be the one with him. After all, this is a medicine for male stamina, and recently she is the only one who spends time with His Majesty. So-ju thought that this should not be given to the emperor, because otherwise he will think that she has some feelings for him. So she decided to give this tincture to her friend Rice Cake. In the evening, the girl ran to the park and saw her friend there. The man asked why he needed this herbal tincture. So-ju replied that it was specially for him, and why exactly he will understand when he drinks. The young man promised that he would definitely do as she asked, and So-ju ran back to the palace satisfied. She ran until she ran into the Grand Duke IV. He said she looked very beautiful as always, and the girl asked where he was going. The man replied that he wanted to go to the capital because young Bo-ho had come. The prince asked if she didn't know that John Bo-ho was a well-known informer in Marima. Of course, Nyong-bi knew who Jung Bo-ho was. Also, she heard that he had joined the Sahabi group. Therefore, she decided that he might know something about the fake Jung Nyong-bi. So-ju wanted very much to meet the informant, but she knew that with her current powers it was almost impossible. She was lying on the emperor's bed, wrapped again like an egg roll. The girl pondered whether the rice cake could help her in this. Because he is a eunuch, he must be privy to secret moves. The emperor could not sleep for a long time and asked So-ju to sing him a song. The girl sang about how animals speak. In the morning, the chief eunuch told the emperor what had happened to him. The tincture that His Majesty drank is a unique medicine that increases the body's endurance. The emperor asked why the girl gave it to her friend. The eunuch explained to His Majesty how this tincture works, and the man understood exactly what So-ju wanted from him. The next day they met again in the park. So-ju asked Rice Cake what would happen if she was caught trying to escape. The man came closer to her and asked if he could kiss her. The girl pushed him away and asked why he was behaving like that. The rice cake asked in surprise if that's why she gave him that tincture. So-ju replied that she meant no harm. Then she asked again if he would help her escape from here. Shocked, the man asked why she wanted to leave the palace. The girl explained that she had to leave for a while and then come back. Then Rice Cake suggested So-ju go with her. He added that they could walk around the evening market and enjoy some delicious food. But So-ju refused, explaining that she wanted to meet one person there. The Rice Cake immediately asked with interest who this man was. The girl asked why he thought it was a man and not a woman. The young man replied that he felt it. He then told So-ju that she could ask someone else for help. The girl thought and decided that there is another person who can help her. So-ju came to Hawk-hap and asked him to help her get out of the palace grounds. General Hawk-hap was shocked by such a request. He asked the girl if she was not on excellent terms with the emperor. So-ju said she would go back. Besides, he owes her one favor. General Hawk-hap sighed heavily and offered her to become his servant for a while. The girl was very grateful to the general for taking her with him to the city. There were a lot of people on the street, and So-ju was walking through the evening market. She was pleased to know that there were no spies waiting for her around the corner who wanted her dead. Nyong-bi really wanted to see a lot more here, but she needed to find the informant sooner. In the conversation between the two men, she heard that the informant was now in the capital. The girl came closer to them. These were Murimu's military. One of them told the other that young Bo-ho is being persecuted because he knows too much. Therefore, he definitely cannot avoid an attack on him. The second man said that they say that you need to establish a relationship with him before asking anything. The first man said that they would still go to him in Tai-en-lu. So-ju didn't know where this place was. She decided to ask them how to get there. When the girl approached the Tai-en-lu bar, the guard at the entrance to the bar did not want to let her in. Nyong-bi was a little indignant, but still couldn't tell who she really was. The guard told the girl to go back to where she came from. So-ju said she really needed to get there. Then the man proposed to her. If the girl can impress him with her poetry, he will let her into the bar. Soju accepted these terms and read her poem. The security guard said that it was a bit easy, and the girl quickly ran into the middle of the bar. His Majesty visited the chambers of concubine Jung Soju. The emperor asked Busung and Wan Woon where Soju was. The girls said she went to bed a little earlier than usual today. In fact, she told them she wouldn't be back until morning, so they tried to make sure His Majesty didn't guess anything. But the emperor realized that Soju had done what she planned. His Majesty said he would wait for Soju in the living room. When the girl saw Young Boho at a table in the middle of the bar, she didn't know how to approach him because there was already a line of people around him who wanted to ask the informant questions. Suddenly, Seoju saw a waitress with a tray that was supposed to serve Young Boho's dishes. The girl asked her to give her a chance to take it to her to ask her question. The waitress didn't want to give her tray, so Soju offered her some gold. The woman agreed but asked if she was planning to attack the informant. The girl replied that she would simply take the dish and ask the informant her question. Seoju smashes a plate over Young Boho's head, and the waitress screams in terror. The informant got very angry and started yelling at Soju. And she said that she had one question for him, and she heard that she had to come to an agreement with him first. The girl gave the informant a bag of gold and asked if it was true that Young Young-bi had joined the Sahabi group. The man replied that it was. He asked in surprise if that was all she wanted to know. After all, everyone already knows about this fact. The girl screamed that Young Young-bi had died, and the truth was that Gaiwan had killed her. Young Boho said that there were rumors that she died, but it turns out that Young Young-bi is alive and no one killed her. The girl realized that someone had taken over her body as soon as her soul entered Seoju's body. Young-bi knew she needed Ta Jung now. Suddenly someone tapped her on the shoulder. Soju saw Grand Duke Fourth in front of her. The young man asked what she was doing here. Surprised, the girl asked the prince what he was doing here. The man did not answer her question, but only asked her a new one. He asked how she found out about the informant's location. Then the prince wondered what kind of question she might have for Young Boho, and such an important one. Soju thought that she should come up with a question to deflect suspicion. She said that she had asked the informant what kind of women the emperor liked, but Young Boho replied that he couldn't know that. Soju told this to the prince and ran away. The concubine returned to her chambers, and the girls informed her that His Majesty was waiting for her in the drawing room. When Soju approached the emperor, he asked if she had a good time. The girl replied that His Majesty could have warned her that he wished to see her today. The emperor asked why she chose to hide her absence. Soju said that His Majesty could wait in his chambers without wasting time waiting. The man replied that she allowed herself to leave without telling him about it. Then the girl shouted that she did not want to sit in four walls and wait for him to call her. The emperor said that it must be so. He added that her behavior was not befitting a concubine. When the emperor left, Busung told Soju that His Majesty had been waiting for her in the living room for 3 whole hours. The girl was ashamed, so she decided that she should go to him alone in the morning. On the way to the emperor's quarters, Soju saw His Majesty walking by the lake arm in arm with a girl. Soju became very offended and went back to her room. She sat at the table and wondered how he could do this to her. First confess your love to her, and then calmly walk with another. Her thoughts were interrupted by Busung, who asked Soju what she was planning to give Grand Duke Fourth for his birthday. Surprised, the girl asked what other gift. Busung told her that today is the prince's birthday, and this is the only half-brother of His Majesty who received special favor from the emperor. The concubine worriedly asked if she was also obliged to give him a gift. Busung replied that it is not prescribed by law, but the lack of a gift may reflect on her in a bad way. Soju then admitted that she had no money at all. Busung couldn't believe it, because she had always been very thrifty. The girl asked if she didn't have any savings. In fact, Soju gave all her savings to the informant, so she had nothing. Realizing that the situation was hopeless, Busung suggested that the girl turn to her sister for help. Busung reminded that Her Highness Yeonbi is her sister. Soju was shocked by this news. It turns out that she has an older sister here, the older sister who knew she almost died, and who never even once asked how she was doing. Seoju didn't know if she should ask her for money. The girl decided that she could simply confess to the Grand Duke that she had no money for a gift. After listening to her, the prince said that he understood everything, because the services of an informer really cost a lot. Seoju is happy that he understood her and says that she can give him wildflowers as a gift. The prince smiled and said that wildflowers are beautiful when they grow in nature. But they are completely ugly and inappropriate as a birthday present. Then the girl asked him what he wanted. The prince replied that he understood her situation. Therefore, he will make an exception for her. Instead of a gift, he would like to know what she was interested in the informant. He added that he meant her main question, not the question about His Majesty. Seoju replied that she had changed her mind and ran to the palace. The girl decided that she would still have to meet her sister. When the girl saw her sister, she lost the gift of speech for a while. It was the same girl who walked hand in hand with the emperor by the lake. Yeonbi asked Seoju why she came here. The girl replied that they had not seen each other for a long time. Yeonbi said it wasn't. After all, they saw each other by the lake when she was walking with the emperor. Seoju said that she had completely forgotten that she had a sister. Yeonbi told her sister that she should be smarter, because everyone knows that she has a special place in the emperor's heart, and she herself cannot hide her emotions. Seoju asked her sister what she was talking about. The girl said that she saw her face at the moment when someone else was next to the emperor. Therefore, she wants to remind her of what she said once. The emperor is not just a man and a man. He is a symbol of our empire, our future, and our life, said Yeonbi, and asked her sister not to tell her about her love for him. But Seoju said that's not what she came here for. Yeonbi asked in surprise, why then? The girl admitted to her sister that she needed money. Yeonbi laughed out loud, and Seoju was surprised that she thought it was funny that someone would ask for money. Yeonbi said it was very funny. Seoju saw that her sister was not angry and was very kind to her. But Yeonbi asked why she wouldn't ask His Majesty for money. The girl asked her sister if she would come here if it were possible. Yeonbi asked why it wasn't possible if he favored her more than the other concubines. Seoju replied that they had a bit of a fight. The sister said that then they should reconcile. The maid informed Lady Yeonbi that her sister had arrived. The lady ordered to invite her to them. When the girls sat down at their table, Seoju apologized to Yeonbi and said that she didn't know what she was expecting from the guest. Yeonbi told her sister not to take offense at Seoju, because her memory has not yet fully recovered. Seoju noticed that the girl was indeed a little upset. Seeing that Seoju really doesn't remember anything, Yeonbi said that Woo-yo is the youngest of them. Seoju thought that the three of them didn't look alike at all. The girl said that they are so beautiful that you can think that she is their half-sister. Yeonbi replied that it was Woo-yo, their half-sister. Seoju asked how that was possible. She assumed that their father had married her mother. Yeonbi explained that Woo-yo's mother was their father's concubine. After those words, Woo-yo looked very upset, and Seoju worried that it was because of her. Yeonbi told the sisters that she wanted to talk to them about something important. She said that now that one of the sisters is the emperor's favorite, they must combine their efforts in order to successfully lead the family. Woo-yo wholeheartedly agreed with her sister, and Seoju pretended to support Yeonbi as well. In the evening, the emperor's aide reported to His Majesty that Jung Seoju had met the fourth prince in the park. The emperor was very surprised and asked for what purpose they were meeting. The young man said that they had a little chat, after which she got offended and went back to the palace. His Majesty asked what kind of cases they could be connected with. He was outraged by the fact that she goes to meetings with other men and runs away from him. The emperor changed into ordinary clothes and said that he urgently needed to go to Cheongjuk Park. Seoju catches up with Woo-yo and apologizes for not recognizing her right away. The girl replied that she was sorry, but asked to continue talking to her as it should be, because she is of a higher rank. Woo-yo smiled and added that it should only be done in front of other people. After a walk in the park, His Majesty returned to the palace. There he was informed that the three sisters of the Jung family were meeting together today. The aide added that this is why Jung Seoju didn't come to meet her friend at the park like she usually does. The emperor suggested that they plan to seize power and increase the power of the Jung family. His Majesty said that it would probably be better for him to stay away from Jung Seoju for the time being. Counselor Gongwoo, the emperor's right-hand man, reassured him. He said the Chung family is quite ambitious, but this is not enough to take away power from the imperial family. Gongwoo added that His Majesty has nothing to worry about, and he should not follow his feelings when it comes to national interests. The emperor said with sadness in his eyes that you never know what human souls hide. He remembered that his sister once confided in one person, and she was very smart and insightful. Now he too has lost his mind because of love. Gongwoo said that he had high hopes for His Majesty's wisdom. Soju ran to the park and greeted her friend. The rice cake indignantly asked the girl why she did not come for so long. The girl asked her friend what the fourth Grand Duke might like. The young man asked why he should tell her about this. Seoju said that his birthday is coming up soon, so she needs to think of something to get him. But the problem is that she has no money at all. The rice cake said that Yeonbi gave the prince a song last year. Soju asked inspired if the dance could be prepared. The girl asked rice cake to give her a sword so she could show him her dance. When the emperor saw her smooth movements with the sword, he fell in love again. Soju joyfully asked if this dance was not an ideal gift for the Grand Duke. Rice cake said it wasn't a very good idea to dance like that in front of the Grand Duke. In the evening, Soju lay next to the emperor again, wrapped in a blanket like an egg roll. She felt His Majesty's watchful gaze on her and asked what had happened. The emperor said that his concubine could not dance in front of another man. Shocked, the girl asked how he knew about it. His Majesty replied that he had heard it from someone. And Soju said that she heard from someone that last year the concubine gave the Grand Duke a song. The emperor said that it was forbidden from this year and asked her to choose another gift. He added that she can perform the sword dance only in front of him. The girl replied offended that she did not want to do that. The emperor asked in surprise why she said that. Soju said that she likes to dance in front of other people. She then admitted that she was angry with him for hanging out with her sister by the lake. The emperor apologized, but added that dancing with swords was still forbidden. At the celebration of Grand Duke IV's birthday, all the concubines presented him with gifts. Soju watched this and waited her turn. She really hoped that everything would work out for her. When the girl approached the Grand Duke, the man was very happy that Soju personally wanted to congratulate him. He shouted loudly that he would be happy to accept her gift. The girl got angry because he knew that she did not have money for a gift for him. Soju took herself in her hands and said, "Grand Duke, I solemnly give you my promise." Everyone around started laughing and discussing her gift. The girl understood that it seemed very funny, but if she had the money, she would never do it. The prince told Seoju that he was delighted with her gift. The man reminded that this is a promise that she will have to fulfill. The concubines began to discuss the fact that another girl would be kicked out of the banquet for such a gift. General Manhwa-Hub approached Soju and said that he liked her gift. The girl was upset and said that he was teasing her. The man replied that he really thought so. After all, her gift is from the heart. He added that the Empress Dowager also thought so. Soju didn't understand what the Empress Mother had to do with it. The next day, the young Empress gathered all the concubines at her place and said that everyone should prepare meals for the Dowager Empress. They are given 10 days to do this. The Empress asked Soju not to feed the Empress Mother with her promises. The Empress said that she herself would think of what to cook for Soju, and these will be rice cakes with plum blossoms. The girl agreed with Her Majesty, but in fact, Soju was very angry with Rice Cake, who told the Emperor about the sword dance. After all, cakes with plum blossoms are very difficult to prepare. Having met her friend in the park, Soju scolded him for telling everything to the Emperor. The girl said that he betrayed her, and now she will have a new friend. Rice Cake asked who exactly it would be. Soju replied that she would now be friends with General Manhwa-Hub. The young man was upset and asked what he could do to restore their friendship. The girl thought for a while and asked if he knew the recipe for rice cakes with plum blossoms. The rice cake promised to help her prepare a meal for the Empress. When she got to the imperial chef's kitchen, Soju thought that Rice Cake was quite an influential person in the palace. Chef Young-sung greeted the girl and said that they would start cooking as soon as another person joined them. Soju knew Rice Cake had to come. When the young man came, the girl waved to him. She thought it would be awkward if she called him Rice Cake in front of other people. That's why Soju gave him the name Tokun. The cook saw the man to whom the girl was waving, but he almost lost consciousness. He understood that they would have to cook in the presence of His Majesty. The cook said that first you need to cut the vegetables. The girl said that her friend Tokun can cut vegetables. Young-sung excitedly said that he should be the one to teach her how to make these cakes. Soju then said that Tokun can do the dishes. Chef Jung-sung said horrified that this was unacceptable, so he would do everything himself, and went to wash the dishes so that the emperor wouldn't have to do it. The Dowager Empress tasted the first course. It was vegetables in a spicy sauce. Suddenly, she saw concubine Seoju waving to someone. The woman looked in that direction and saw her son in simple clothes. He hid behind a tree and watched them. Out of surprise, the Empress spat out what she was eating. The young Empress shouted who prepared this dish, how it was prepared and why Her Majesty had such a reaction. The Dowager Empress said that everything was fine and started to laugh. Then she approached young Soju. The girl frightenedly told Her Majesty that it was not her dish. The Empress Mother asked the girl if she knew the young man who had been standing behind the tree and had now run away. Soju replied that it was her friend Takun. Her Majesty asked how they met. The Empress Mother understood that the girl would be uncomfortable to tell in front of everyone, and asked to leave them alone. Soju didn't know if she could talk to Her Majesty about the rice cake. After all, he hides his identity from everyone. Therefore, she decided to first ask the Empress if she knew who he was. The woman replied that she knew. Then, Soju said that he was a eunuch, and Her Majesty laughed out loud. The Emperor's aide said he couldn't believe that Seoju's concubine was calling him whatever she wanted. He suggested that her arrogance might bring him trouble. The Emperor said that she didn't even know who he really was. Then, the young man reminded His Majesty that tonight he must receive the Empress. He added that Her Majesty had inquired whether he would come in person or send her money. The Emperor said he never sent them, and she keeps asking about it. The young Empress remembered how the Empress Mother had praised the concubine Jung Soju for her dish, and had even invited her to her table. Her Majesty understood that at this rate Soju would rise very quickly. Sitting at the table with the Emperor, she was upset. Therefore, His Majesty asked the girl if everything was okay. The Empress asked who Jung Soju was dating, him or his double. The Emperor smiled and asked his wife if she needed to buy anything. The girl was a little upset but accepted his offer. While having tea with his mother, the Emperor heard from her that it was time to take new concubines. The young man answered in surprise that the harem was already full of concubines. The woman said that there is still no one among them who would give birth to a child for him. She added that he is the first emperor in history who has no children. After listening to the mother, the man said that he would like to raise young Soju's rank. The Empress asked why he was watching her incognito. She added that the other concubines see his not smart Soju and feel jealous. And it has gone too far. That was why she admitted that she praised her dish in front of the other concubines, even though it was, in fact, terrible. The Emperor added that she was very lovely. The Empress told her son that she also liked Soju very much, but she could not suddenly raise her rank. Then everyone will start hating and insulting her. The mother told her son that there were only two options and he knew which. The first option is that her family should make a significant contribution to the good of their empire, and the second option, Soju should get pregnant. In the evening, the Emperor again called Soju to his room. The girl was lying next to him, wrapped in a blanket. The Emperor asked if it was hot for her to lie down, like an egg roll. The girl replied that she was already used to it. Then His Majesty asked permission to deploy it. Seoju couldn't believe that he would finally unwrap her and see her body. Having uncovered the girl a little, His Majesty said that he could not do so. The next day, the aide informed the Emperor that the Empress Dowager had invited new concubines, and this greatly upset Soju. The young man offered His Majesty to speak with her. The Emperor said that he wanted to become closer for her, but he is real without masks. But he didn't know whether the rice cake was real or a fictional character. The aide suggested that the girl might be offended after learning that he had been pretending to be her friend all this time. In the morning, Busung happily brought Seoju a bag of jewels and said that it was what she had been waiting for. The girl was very happy that her poverty was finally over. Busung said that in the future, the number of jewels may end due to the fact that the Emperor will take new concubines into his harem. The girl was a little upset, and Wanwoon added that Soju cannot worry, because she is His Majesty's favorite, and he will not leave her without gifts. Soju said that she didn't care about the new concubines, since the Emperor still treats her like an egg roll. The girl wanted to meet rice cake. In the evening, she ran to the park and gave her friend a green ring in a brown gift box. Soju decided to thank him for their friendship. The young man thanked the girl for the gift and said that he wants to reveal his identity to her, but he is afraid that she might not like who he really is. Soju thought he was ashamed of being a eunuch. She replied that she didn't care who he really was and they would continue to be friends. The girl said that she had long guessed who he was. The young man asked why then she continued to communicate with him, as before. Soju replied that she didn't care who he was. Then the man offered to meet at this place in a week and at the same time to tell who he was. Thus they will find out whether she is wrong, and the one who loses will have to fulfill one wish of the winner. The girl agreed and went to the palace. The fourth prince asked his brother if he was sure that Seoju didn't know that he was rice cake. The Emperor said that he had to come up with a wish for her. The prince asked if he would really make this lovely girl do his bidding. His Majesty asked his brother not to call his wife cute. Then he said he wouldn't and left. On the street, the prince met the concubine Soju and asked the girl why she was so upset. Soju asked the prince if he knew anyone from the emperor's inner circle. The prince smiled and asked if she was talking about the rice cake. The girl was very surprised that he even knew what she called him. The man replied that it was his friend, and he also knows that they made a bet. He offered to name his friend in exchange for her telling him what she asked the informant Young Bo Ho. Seoju said that in that case, it was time for her to go. Then, the prince invited her to announce to him her guesses about the identity of the rice cake, so that he would confirm or refute them. The girl was very happy that she had such an opportunity, and said that rice cake is a eunuch. Prince Four laughed and said she was very clever. Soju asked him not to tell rice cake for now. The prince promised not to say anything. He decided that the emperor should hear everything with his own ears. When the time came, they met at Cheongjuk Park. Rice Cake asked his assistant Song Yeon to count to 3. On the count of 3, he and Soju had to say their options. The emperor was shocked that the girl thought he was a eunuch, and Soju could not believe that his majesty was standing before her. The emperor offended and asked why the eunuch. She said his behavior indicated that. The man reminded her that she lost, so she must fulfill his wish. The girl replied that she was ready. He moved closer to her and kissed her lips. The next day, the emperor was choosing new concubines, and this made Soju very angry. She did not understand why he should do this if he loved her. When Soju saw the first concubine chosen by the emperor, she couldn't believe it. This girl looked a lot like her, young Soju. Angry, she ran down the street until she saw a carriage. Seoju realized that it was that concubine's carriage and tore off one of the wheels. Then she quickly ran away so that no one would see her. The girl ran, covering her face with her hands until she bumped into the Grand Duke IV. He thought she was crying because the emperor was choosing new concubines, so he reassured her. That girl asked not to tell anyone and quickly ran away. In the evening, the prince visited his brother and told that Soju asked not to tell, but she cried a lot because of him. He asked the emperor to calm his beloved girl. When his majesty came to Soju in her room, the girl was afraid that he would find out that she was the one who broke the wheel of the new concubine's carriage. But the emperor said that he understood her feelings. The man said that there were many girls who behaved like this when he was choosing new concubines. Then, Soju said that then it is not scary that someone's carriage is without one wheel. The emperor asked in surprise if she had broken it. The girl asked why he came to her then, if he did not know this. His Majesty said they are now looking for the criminal who did this, and now he doesn't know what to do with her. Soju reminded that he is an emperor and is already used to solving various issues. The man smiled and said that he had come up with something. His Majesty gave the girl a pen and paper. He said she could write a petition to the emperor and ask him for anything she wanted. The girl said that she has very good handwriting. The man replied that it was very good, but when he saw her address, he could not understand a single word. The emperor cupped her ink-stained face in his hands and said she was driving him crazy. Soju replied that she was just not like everyone else. The next day, the empress mother asked her son if he liked any of the new concubines. The young man replied that none of them suited him. The woman said they had already taken them, so he had to take care of them now. Then she asked why he ordered the concubine's carriage to be repaired. The girl who looks so much like young Soju. The emperor said that he already had Soju, so he did not understand why his mother had chosen this girl for him. The empress said that young Soju is too simple for her son. The young man was indignant and said that she is unique and special, and also quite a creative person. Then the mother asked if he liked Natapin. First, she is very beautiful, and secondly, her brother is a man who is called the hero of Marima. The man said he didn't like Murim people. After all, there are many associations and clans that conflict with each other, and he must bring peace and tranquility to his people. When young Soju first saw Gay Tapin, she was shocked. She thought she looked a lot like the guy one who killed her. Soju thought they looked like twins. The young empress told Gi Tapying that she was very beautiful. The girl thanked her majesty. Then the empress asked if it was true that there was a hero Murimu in her family. The girl replied that her brother is called that, and his name is Gaewon. Seoju couldn't believe that this girl was actually Jiwon's sister. She decided that from now on she would keep her eyes on her to make sure there was nothing suspicious. In the evening, Wonwoon and Busun happily told Seoju that the emperor had sent her a bunch of jewels, and all the caskets were made of mother of pearl. In a letter from the emperor, Soju read that he had done everything she asked, although in fact he never understood her handwriting. The girl decided to thank His Majesty and went to see him. On the way, she saw the emperor talking to his advisor. Gongwu said, "Your Majesty, His Majesty is calling you." Soju didn't understand what that meant. How can an emperor call an emperor? Suddenly, she was noticed. His Majesty ordered the girl to approach them. The emperor asked why she was hiding and watching them. Soju replied that she was just passing by. The emperor stroked the girl's face and smiled sweetly. Soju wondered if she had heard the phrase, "Your Majesty, His Majesty summons you," correctly. The girl thought it might be something like a password between the emperor and his secretary. His Majesty told the girl that he had some other business to attend to, so she must return to herself. When Soju left, the emperor told the secretary that as far as he knew, this girl had a difficult character. Gongwu said that it is, which is why His Majesty values her so much. When the girl returned to her room after the walk, the girls told her unpleasant news. Wenwun said that today the emperor summoned Ongui Yin to his chamber. Soju realized that her copy would be spending the night with His Majesty tonight. She thought that these were the same unfinished business that the emperor had just told her about outside. Wenwun and Bu-sung calmed the girl down. Wenwun said that the emperor always pays more attention to new concubines, but that's just the beginning. Bu-sung showed Seoju her gifts from His Majesty, and said that he still loves her more than anyone. After all, there has never been a concubine who would have received so many gifts. Soju was very angry with the emperor. She told the girls that she had to go for a walk. The girl ran to the park and saw a rice cake sitting on a rock. She was very surprised to see him in the park. After all, he should now be with Ongui Yin in his chambers. Then, the girl remembered that she had already seen the emperor and rice cake together. It was when he and rice cake were watching His Majesty walking in the park with another concubine. It could only mean that there were two of them. One of them is rice cake, and she is not personally familiar with the other. The girl did not understand why the rice cake emperor had sent his copy to Ongui Yin. She thought that this could only be explained by one assumption. All emperors must leave behind their descendants, so a real emperor cannot do this. At the reception of the young empress, Soju decided to ask her copy, the concubine Ongui Ying, how long she had been with His Majesty. The girl did not like this question, and the other concubines came to her defense. They said that the newcomer only slept with the emperor once, and Soju is already trying to intimidate her. Ongui Yin smiled and told Soju that everyone was talking about how they looked a lot alike. But she added that, unlike Soju, the emperor called her to him right away. Soju became angry, and the empress made a remark to Ongui Ying. The girl was very upset that she was quarreled with because the empress is her own older sister. Ongui Yin was so angry with her sister that she pushed Gay Top Yin's concubine as they all left the palace. The girl was upset, and Soju noticed it. When she saw her face, she caught herself thinking that Ji Tapin looks a lot like Ji-won when she's sad. For some reason, she really wanted to calm her down. Seoju approached the girl and told her not to give in to Ongui Yin's provocations. Soju reminded the girl that she had a Murimu warrior in her family, so she shouldn't be a coward. Gay Tap Ying smiled and thanked the girl for her concern. Seoju noticed that she looked even more like Gay Won when she smiled. Therefore, she decided that it is better to stay away from her. But soon the girl visited Soju with a gift. She treated her to tofu cheese, which she had prepared with her own hands, especially for her as a sign of gratitude. Soju asked Yi Tapin if it was true that her brother was the hero of Murimu. The girl replied that his name is Gaewon, and he is quite famous in the motherland. Concubine Soju said that she does not understand this at all, so she will gladly listen to interesting stories about Murim. Soju asked to tell her more about Gaewon. The girl said that her brother is a very handsome and wise man, as well as an active and highly moral person. Soju knew he was handsome, but she wouldn't agree with anything else. Gitap Ying said that he once met a girl named Jung Young Bi. She was Murim's strongest warrior, but later it turned out that she was a thief who practiced black magic. Soju was very angry, but she didn't show it and just smiled. The girl added that Jung Young Bi's name is now used as an insult in Murima. Gitap Ying said that her brother came to his senses in time and killed the thief first. Thanks to this, the reputation of their family, which was practically destroyed, was restored again. The concubine said it was very good. That girl said that now it turned out that Jung Young Bi is alive. and the brother wants to finish the work he started and kill this thief. Soju was shocked to hear such news. She thought that the heartless Ji-won thought killing her once was not enough and now he wants to kill her again. It hurt Nyong-bi so much that he did that, after everything that had happened between them. She didn't understand why he hated her so much. The girl almost cried at the guest. On her practice lawn, Seoju pounded a rock and swore to herself that she would get revenge and kill him first. After training, the emperor came to her. The girl asked why he was so upset. The man said that today is the anniversary of the death of his older sister, Princess Hwa-yeon. He added that it was all because of a man named Hae-wol. He first made his sister the happiest and at the same time the most miserable. Soju reassured His Majesty. The emperor said that Hae-wol was a warrior from Murimu. He vowed to find and kill him. The girl was a little jealous of Princess Hwa-yeon. After all, she has a brother who mourns her and is ready to take revenge for her death. And in her life there is only one who wants to kill her for the second time in her short life. The young empress was walking around the palace. She couldn't believe that her father sent her sister to the palace, making her look like young Soju. The woman was angry with her father because the emperor could fall in love and make this girl the new empress. Suddenly, near the lake, she saw the emperor. The empress came closer to him and realized that it was not him. She told the veiled man that he was not the emperor. The man asked how she guessed. The woman replied that she wouldn't say that because he could fix it the next time they met. His Majesty asked Her Majesty if it was true that she often walks here. The empress asked her husband in surprise if he knew that she would come here right now. The man replied that she always comes here when there are any problems. The empress wished him a good walk and left. She never found out that he loved her.